Trigger warnings for this video. This video discusses sexually transmitted diseases, infidelity, and a brief mention of rape. If these topics make you uncomfortable, please feel free to click off. Otherwise, let's continue. Growing up, the conversations surrounding STDs have always been about caution. Be cautious about having unprotected sex because you could get pregnant or catch a disease. And please use protection if you're going to have sex. I even have a memory of 3 high school science teachers coming together to show us a graphic slideshow of STDs to warn us before Valentine's Day weekend. All in all, I have not thought about unpacking my personal views of STDs, let alone how the media portrays them, until I watched the video from Ariana Hook titled How Not to Tell a Story About STDs. In this video, she talked about Tyler Perry's Temptations, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor, and how it feels like the main character Judith got an STD as a punishment for cheating on her husband. Meanwhile, the husband wasn't that great outside of the fact that he was faithful, but he was allowed to move on and live a happy life with a new wife and a child, and Judith was left to live alone with the STD she contracted with the man she cheated with. While I listened to Ariana's valid points, it made me realize Greenleaf did this too. Hello students, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tallulah Chanel, the head mistress of this place I like to call the Beaten Academy. Hi, how are you? What you're watching is yet another writing commentary video because, truth be told, I haven't been feeling pretty enough to be on camera. So for this video, you will watch a screen recording of me working on my Carissa Greenleaf story as I talk about the topic at hand. For this video, I am using a program called Cold Turkey Writer to block out distractions while I attempt to type 300 words, and then we'll transfer them onto my manuscript, which I am using on Reedsy. So if you would like to pause to read some of the snippets, that's fine, but I hope you enjoyed this video. For today's video, I want to discuss a topic that's been on my mind since I watched Ariana's video, and it has to do with the Chlamydia storyline in Greenleaf, why I hated the social issues within it, and how I thought it was unfair to Carissa. As I mentioned earlier, Ariana's video inspired me to examine the storyline more thoroughly and do my own research on how the media portrays STDs. This topic is also discussed in the book she wrote with her friend Amaya Janelle called You Still Cannot Call Me Sis, which is part 2 of their book, Do Not Call Me Sis. Both books are essay collections discussing media, fandom, and the social issues within them. I am not being paid to promote these books. I'm just a fan of Ariana's work. The links to the books will be in the description. Now, what I will promote is my social medias, so you can stay up to date on when I upload new videos, new episodes of my podcast, and new writing things that I'm currently working on. You can follow me at Tallulah Chanel on Tumblr, Tallulah_Chanel on Twitter, yes, I still call it Twitter, and Tallulah Chanel 94 on Instagram. You can also join the Beaten Academy broadcast channel on Instagram, where you can also stay up to date on these things as well. And if you would like to support this channel on a monetary donation, go to my Ko-fi page. I will be posting some new things there, and actually I'm going to post a snippet from the Carissa Greenleaf story soon. And also, BVB Coffee has offered me a discount code. They're not a sponsor of this channel, but if you use my discount code, you get a percentage off your purchase. BVP Coffee was founded by MBA students at Howard University. They provide specialty coffee products from all around the world, and their mission is to bring communities together through stories of global travel, entrepreneurship, and collaboration. Each time you buy BVP coffee product, you are supporting a scholarship to go towards a HBCU student. You can use my discount code Tallulah_Chanel at checkout, or you can scan the QR code to get a percentage off your purchase. Now let's get into the video. The chlamydia storyline takes place in season 4 when Carissa was diagnosed with chlamydia after cheating on her husband Jacob with a shady man named Fernando Amable, played by David B.S. This arc started when Carissa was adamant about having her own house and getting out of the Greenleaf mansion. So she wanted to convince Jacob to sell land they own to buy the house. A little side note, as much as I praise Carissa for being smart, this is one of those times where I have to call her dumb because she could have just built a house on the land that they own instead of trying to buy a house. But then again, that would take patience Carissa doesn't have. And yes, my bestie was the one who pointed this out to me, and I have to give her credit. But anyway, Jacob and Carissa sold their land to City on the Hill, an independent LLC that's funded by Harmony and Hope, the company that's trying to take the church away from the Greenleaf family. Fernando had already been showing signs of liking Carissa, so when she begged for more money for this house, he took that as an opportunity to make a move on her. She made it clear that she wasn't giving him nothing without that check clearing, and once it did, well, even with all of that, Carissa still didn't get the house and was determined to find a way out of the mansion, even going as far as to break into the family safe to see who will own it once James and May pass away and sell off their share. And while doing all of this, she gets a chlamydia diagnosis.
How the hell did you get chlamydia? Please. How?
Long story short, Carissa lost her husband and she broke up with her lover.
You gave me chlamydia.
I always hated this storyline even before I understood the social issues regarding it. I can admit that part of my hatred comes from the story not ending in a way that I would have liked. When this storyline was first introduced, I thought it was going to end with Carissa realizing that she deserves better, and she leaves Jacob for a man who will love and appreciate her. That did not happen, and what actually happens goes into my hate for the storyline. This storyline is one of those examples of how media negatively portrays STDs. And I'm going to just give a list of the ways media portrays STDs negatively. 1. Most STD portrayals are inaccurate and perpetuate harmful stereotypes. One common misconception is that only promiscuous people are at risk. In reality, any sexually active person is at risk of getting an STD. 2. In some cases, the media portrays STDs as if they're not a serious health concern, which has led to people becoming complacent about their sexual health. In reality, untreated STDs can lead to serious consequences like infertility, chronic pain, and death. 3. Portrayals of STDs often show them as symptomatic and recognizable, when in reality they can be asymptomatic or have mild symptoms easily mistaken for the common ailments. Put a pin in that because that will become important when I talk about Fernando. 4. Media portrays STDs as easily curable with home remedies or over-the-counter medications. While STDs are treatable with antibiotics, some may require prescription medications or ongoing treatment. 5. The media falsely represents that STDs are transmitted only through sexual contact. Although sexual contact is the most common transmission method, STDs can also spread through blood transfusions, shared needles, and from mother to child during childbirth. I have seen transmission from blood fusions represented in the Golden Girls episode, and Touched by an Angel did have a character that was infected from her mother. 6. The media often sensationalizes rare or extreme cases of STDs instead of awareness, education, and compassion, which leads to fear and misinformation amongst their viewers. And 7. The media often portrays STDs as a punishment for immoral behavior, which can lead to feelings of shame and guilt in people who have contracted an STD, and further stigmatizes an already sensitive topic. This is what I want to talk about in this video. In the original script for this video, I was going to include portrayals I thought were done well, but since they highlight the more extreme cases of STDs like HIV and AIDS, I felt like it contributes to the problem with media only wanting to show those diseases and not the others. However, I still like how Golden Girls went with the storyline of a blood transfusion instead of the usual storyline of someone contracting it from unprotected sex. And I like how they touched on how wrong it is to assume that promiscuous people are more likely to get an STD than someone who isn't. Also, an article I read in preparation for this video highlighted Insecure for its empathetic and realistic portrayal of STDs in a story where Molly is diagnosed with chlamydia. I've never seen Insecure. That's one of those shows I just haven't gotten around to watching just yet. So I can't realistically say how well Molly's storyline was portrayed. I will leave that to someone who has seen the show and does commentary on that show. Personally, I don't know anyone who does that, so if you can look around this platform, you can probably find someone. In the case of Greenleaf, Carissa's diagnosis felt like a punishment for her behavior, similar to Judith in Temptations. This is yet another example of the media portraying people with chlamydia as promiscuous, irresponsible, and morally corrupt, and this further contributes to shame and discrimination, making it difficult for people to seek help and support. Carissa has already done some inexcusable things before her diagnosis, so the diagnosis seemed like a deserved outcome for her actions, and as the audience, we love to see bad things happen to her. Also, she was shown to be irresponsible by not using protection with this man she doesn't know. And while I agree she should have done that, I feel like the writer who wrote the storyline had to make Carissa irresponsible for it to work, which goes against the character she's been since season 1. Even more so when you consider that her daughter was portrayed as more responsible when it came to sex than she was. I've already done an entire video on how Carissa is an unlikable character, so if you haven't seen it yet, please go watch it. As for Fernando, he is also an example of how people with chlamydia are portrayed as morally corrupt. From the moment we meet him, we can sense his shady vibe, especially with the way he was giving Carissa flirtatious looks while her husband was present. And then we learn that his company is funded by the company that's trying to take the church away from the Greenleaf family. Based on his shady behavior, I assume that he purposely infected Carissa with chlamydia, because there are people out here who would purposely infect people with STDs or would not be completely honest with their sexual health and would have unprotected sex with people. But after I learned that chlamydia is asymptomatic, I have to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he didn't know, which will make Carissa slapping him unwarranted. The point is that 2 morally corrupt people were diagnosed with chlamydia, and it could add to the stigmatization of people with chlamydia. The second reason I hate this storyline has to do with Jacob's infidelity. I talk about Jacob's infidelity almost every time I do a Greenleaf commentary, but his actions have really affected his family, and I guess I will always hold him accountable for it. As we know, Jacob has cheated on Carissa multiple times with multiple women throughout their almost 20-year marriage. And yes, we all agree, even Kim Hawthorne herself, that she should have left. The reason his infidelity bothers me when it comes to this storyline is that it's unfair that Carissa caught chlamydia the one time she cheated on him, but he never once caught a disease or any outside children during any of his escapades. We can argue that he's just more careful and responsible than her, but looking at it from a writing standpoint, I find it unfair and borderline misogynist that he never caught anything while she caught disease in her one time that we know about, because it was implied but never confirmed that she cheated first. On top of the fact that he left her for cheating one time, even though she took him back after all the times he cheated on her. I should not have to watch your show and know that a man wrote this, because this is the kind of one-sided portrayal you can expect from a male writer who has yet to unpack his unconscious bias about women. And a little side note, if Carissa was going to revenge cheat with anybody, I would have preferred it to have been that teacher she had a friendship with in season 1. I'm just saying. Another way this storyline is unfair to Carissa has to do with the character AJ. AJ Delajay, that's a name, played by Jacob Romero Gibson, was introduced in the fourth season as the son Grace had with Noah that she gave up for adoption years before Sophia was born. I like AJ as a character, but the writing for him was so frustrating and annoying because we barely got to know him as a person before we had to deal with his baggage that we didn't have enough time to unpack. And it was just too much. Don't even get me started on that cliffhanger from the last episode of season 4 because I really don't know what that was about. We had so many questions and theories about that character, only for nothing to come of it. In episode 503, AJ reveals that he contracted HIV from being attacked in prison. Afterwards, it was never used against him, and his case was treated with sympathy and understanding. Why is it that he gets sympathy for having a disease, but Carissa gets dirt and bad jokes for it? It could be because AJ got his in a manner that wasn't consensual, while Carissa got hers in a situation that could have been avoided. Still, that doesn't make it right to give AJ a sympathetic portrayal of an STD while simultaneously contributing to stigma while treating Carissa's STD like a punishment. And I get it. We don't like Carissa. So it's nice and fun when something bad happens to her. But this was not good. And I'm not saying that Greenleaf has a misogyny problem, or it does and I haven't noticed it yet. But it feels misogynist that one, Carissa doesn't get a compassionate portrayal, and two, that her marriage suddenly ends because she revenge cheated and not after he cheated multiple times with multiple women. And if this show wanted to touch on STDs, they should have just solely focused on AJ's storyline and left Carissa alone. All in all, I hate this storyline because of how it contributes to the stigma surrounding chlamydia and other STDs, and it is unfair that Carissa wasn't given a sympathetic portrayal of someone with a chlamydia diagnosis, along with her husband leaving her even though he did most of the cheating in their marriage. The one thing I'm willing to give this storyline credit for is the accuracy of having Carissa take antibiotics because chlamydia can clear up in 1 to 3 weeks if properly treated. Media as a whole needs to do better when it comes to the portrayal of STDs. We need to see a more balanced and accurate portrayal of people living with STDs and accurate information that promotes safe sex, regular testing, early detection, and open communication with sexual partners. It is also important to include perspectives from someone living with the STD to humanize the topic and challenge stereotypes. We as content creators can help by approaching this subject with sensitivity and compassion, which I hope I accomplish in this video, but I am open to critiques. I can't really say what the writers could have done with Carissa's character besides giving her the storyline, but I would have been against that man impregnating her. She doesn't deserve a lifelong attachment to him. And although I am curious now if a relationship with Carissa and Fernando would have worked if she hadn't contracted chlamydia and left Jacob for him. Me personally, I like her too much with the OC I made for her to think about her with another man. But the Carissa Fernando ship has me intrigued. I'm also intrigued to know if something could have worked out between Carissa and her teacher friend because I think they're kind of cute too. Just saying. Comment your thoughts on that below, or just comment Carissa deserved better writing to let me know that you made it to the end of the video. If there's anything else Greenleaf related that you would like me to talk about, please let me know in the comments. Once I gather my thoughts about Charity Greenleaf, I'm going to do a video about her. Links to the articles I read in preparation for this video will be in the description. I'm just going to end this video off by saying that Kim Hawthorne deserved better. Thank you for watching this video, and this has been a message from your head mistress. Bye.